It's where people come to take in a show, an important cultural corner. But a show of a different kind happened here, starring violent bikers, initially arguing with a driver, who approaches the officer parked in her cruiser, then heading back to his vehicle, and then the madness. Riders swarm, kicking, punching, stomping, window breaking, bike hurling, and more, while the officer stayed in her cruiser the entire time until other cops rushed in, tackling one rider before they all appear to pedal off.
What's up, Solutionaries? Maj 2 right here. Y'all just saw it, the video of these bike riders down in Miami pummeling some dude. Now, y'all might not understand or agree with my perspective right now. I'm gonna try my best to break it down as much as possible. Before that, guys, make sure you support the work. GiveCingo.com/solutionary. We're able to do this content because of the other work that we actually do, right? As far as firearm safety, conflict resolution, understanding imminent threat, and all of those other different classes. All classes are free to all because of your voluntary donations. GiveCingo.com/solutionary. Now, obviously, these teenagers, I'm assuming and hope they just stupid teenagers, right? Not saying that it's okay, but I'm hoping no adult male is actually operating like this in society. But nonetheless, there's questions that I have for it. One, now there's context that's missing here. If you notice, the driver of the vehicle, they show where he gets out and speaks to the law enforcement officer, or, it's quick cuts. What did he say to that law enforcement officer? Did he cut off some of the bike riders before he went over and said, hey, these kids are riding in the street and whatever, da-da-da-da-da? Did he hit or bump one of the kids beforehand? So forth and so on. So that's context that could be missing from this scenario. Now that we got that out of the way, because I know some of y'all going to say, oh, because they black, Maj, you trying to defend for them and yada, yada, yada. I'm not trying to defend for them. What they did was wrong. We always should ask questions about what is the missing context. And those are chopped up videos. I would assume that just randomly those kids decided to risk their freedom to do something like that in front of a police officer just for absolutely no reason. So I'm not justifying what the goofball ass kids did, but I'm asking for us to think critically and look for things. When you see certain stuff in media over a while, you got to start to look for where are the cuts happening in the edits. Context is key. Now, that being said, let's get to the law enforcement officer. First off, law enforcement officers have no legal or civic obligation to protect you. That is a Supreme Court decision that's been held up several times. Several times, the police can literally sit there and not do anything if they choose not to. Do I think that that's right? Absolutely not. Do I think that that's what the job calls for? Absolutely not. But I want everybody to understand the reason why we train with firearms and understanding imminent threat and recognizing and de-escalation and avoidance is because the law enforcement officer has no legal responsibility to defend you. They don't. They don't. But I think it's something different here. It could be two things. Maybe the driver came up and said some smart ass shit to the police officer who happened to be a female. And then when the teenagers decided to envelop on him, she decided to say, cool, you handle it, or I'll call for backup. And then other officers came to the scene, and then they did the job. Her thought process of, it's 10, 15, however many young people here, I'm not getting involved in that. If I shoot one of these motherfuckers, I'm going to have a George Floyd situation on my hands. There's a bunch of things that could have been run through her head. However, I think she handled it wrong. Her physically just getting out of the vehicle would damn near have the same impact as any other officer showing up aggressive. All of the young people would have scattered. But she 1000% handled it wrong. However, you got to start also looking at the policies. Look at the policies of the Daniel Pennies that defend people. And if it turns into something else, not maybe what intended, what they're going to have to go through. There's a fear factor there. Now, I'm not advocating for the police. Police should be well trained, and police should have serious discernment on whether they're going hands-on, non-lethal, lethal. That continuum of force is a very important thing. So I'm not advocating for law enforcement officers. I think that you got a difficult job when the job becomes difficult. I don't think that most of the job every single day is difficult. But I also don't think that police officers that would be that lazy to not even get out of the vehicle should be on the job. I think you got the job, and this is indicative of a lot of female law enforcement officers. but you got the job to look cute, to look like one of the guys, to this, that, and the third, to kind of like just, I'm a cop, I got the uniform, I got the badge. And that's all cool until some real shit happened that you have to respond effectively with. And in this scenario, she 1000% doesn't have my respect. The kids are fucking morons. The officers that ran and tackled one of them and is gonna probably charge him, I think that was justified, and we gotta call it up the middle objectively, balls and strikes. But I don't know. Maj, you making too many excuses for them kids. Maj, you bootlicking the police. Maj, you hate women. It's something in this post for every single one of you that want to find something to disagree with. And whatever you disagree with me on, put it in the comment section. If you say something correct that I didn't think of, I'm objective. I'll agree with you. But if you get something wrong, you better expect some pushback from myself for the solutionaries in the comment section. Guys, also, this is the reason why we have an Understanding Imminent Threat class. You are responsible for you. Law enforcement, legally and literally, has no legal obligation to do anything, as we just saw right there. And even if they did, what if somebody freezes up? You should not outsource your understanding of violence or defense from violence to law enforcement or the government. When violence is seconds away, the police are minutes away. This is why we have an Understanding Imminent Threat class. Go over to solutionaryuniversity.org, check out the classes. There's a few of them. Sign up for the Understanding Imminent Threat class if you see the importance of it. If you want more classes around civics, firearms basics, curriculums for all of those, sign up for a Solutionary 9 Premium membership where you get workout routines, shooting drills, meal plans, a whole host of things to help you be a better, well-rounded citizen, American that's not relying on whatever officer happens to be close by if something does happen to pop off. My name is Maj Toure, the founder of Solutionary University. Hope to see you in the class soon. Be safe, be solutionary.